Donald Trump is going down, and he is bringing the entire Republican Party with him, because not only is Trump dealing with the fallout from his Jeffrey Epstein scandal and the passage of his big ugly budget, but his tariffs have re-emerged into the public eye, and the public hates them because Donald Trump is imposing a tax on consumers while he just gave the biggest tax cut in history to the wealthy and well-off. And some Republicans are now calling that out, and it's why Donald Trump is threatening and attacking them in a meltdown of a post that we're going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into why Donald Trump is attacking a Republican senator, we have to start with the reason, and that's his failing tariffs, broken down by Jessica Tarlov right here.
On the trade front with the Japan deal, the headline I was paying attention to was that the United Auto Workers and the Big Three opposed the Japan trade deal. And I went through and I collected some recent headlines just to give a tasting of what the golden age actually means on the ground. General Motors' profit shrank 35% last quarter. President Trump's tariffs are costing Jeep maker Stellantis hundreds of millions of dollars. The cost of beef is at its highest level since the 1980s. And from today, independents drive Trump's approval to 37%, a second-term low. So the only president to beat him is himself from the first term. Border security, sure, he still has a positive approval rating on that, but not on immigration as a whole, because lo and behold, people don't want grandmas and people who've been here for decades rounded up. They don't want people sent to CCOT. He's lost 40 points with Gen Zs, so there goes that narrative that suddenly young people are conservatives. Independents approval down to 27%. But the cherry on top, I think, is that 70% say that Trump hasn't done enough to lower prices. And that is the reason that he won this election. It was an election about the economy where people had said, inflation is too high. I go to the grocery store and I see what's going on. And I was obviously on this panel throughout the election. And you guys said to me repeatedly, stop telling people what their real life looks like. Stop telling people what their real life looks like applies right now. They are saying that Donald Trump is too focused on his hard hat mission or his crypto, whatever, and get the prices down.
Well, the White House has been praising the tariffs a lot more than usual recently. I think it's because Donald Trump is out on his golf tour of the world to really just use the power of the presidency to put more money in his pocketbook. No surprise there. But they think that these wins can be a distraction from Epstein. They're not. When Donald Trump talks about the money being brought in from tariffs, he's really just talking about a tax on you and me. That's what the tariffs are. Just people's everyday purchases. That is where Donald Trump is bringing in this money. He's just raised taxes. I don't know why he's cheering that on, and neither do some Republicans, like Josh Hawley, who recently announced a plan for a $600 rebate check because of these tariffs, and it's what has Trump melting down. But what Hawley said about it was a little strange right here.
So this is not going to the hedge fund managers or all the Biden voters. This is not going to the Wall Street kingpins. They don't need any of it. This is going to the Trump blue-collar voters, the people who Joe Biden crushed, the people who didn't get a raise under Joe Biden for 4 long years, the people who cannot afford their gas because Joe Biden shut down our energy, who can't afford their groceries because Joe Biden drove up the price of everything. And it is a message from us to them, from Trump to these folks, that he is here to deliver for them. You know, I got the idea from the president. I mean, the president said maybe we ought to do a little rebate. Great idea. It tells our people, the working people, that we are here for you and these policies are going to benefit them. And we're in it for the long haul. These Trump policies are here to stay.
So Josh Hawley is pitching this right-wing populist, write a check, send it to the working man. But why, Josh? Like, why do you have to do that? Is it because Donald Trump's budget that you voted for is going to be making life more expensive, kicking people off their health care, shutting down hospitals? Is it because the tariffs that you refuse to do anything and opposing are raising prices? Well, Donald Trump clearly thinks that's the reason, and it's why he attacked Hawley in this post right here. Why would one Republican Senator Josh Hawley from the great state of Missouri join with all the Democrats to block a review sponsored by Rick Scott and with the support of almost all other Republicans of Nancy Pelosi's stock trading over the last 25 years? The information was inappropriately released just minutes before the vote, very much like sabotage. The Democrats, because of our tremendous achievements and success, have been trying to target me for a long period of time, and they're using Josh Hawley, I got elected twice, as a pawn to help them. I wonder why Hawley would pass a bill that Nancy Pelosi is in absolute love with. He is playing right into their dirty hands of the Democrats. It's a great bill for her and her husband, in quotes, I don't know why, but so bad for our country. I don't think real Republicans want to see their president, who has been unprecedented in his success, targeted because of the whims of a second-tier senator named Josh Hawley. So clearly, Josh Hawley is getting on Donald Trump's bad side lately, pointing out that his tariffs are costing you money. It's the reason why Hawley is now advocating for a rebate that will likely never come, because I can't imagine a world in which Republicans get on board with making working people's lives easier. That doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But this vote also was something that clearly has Donald Trump furious. Congressional stock trading is something that should have been outlawed years, if not decades ago. It's an absolutely idiotic thing that this still persists, that members of Congress can trade stocks, that their families can benefit off of the privileged information that they get. No one's disputing that. But clearly Donald Trump wanted to use this as a way to distract from his Jeffrey Epstein scandal, and now the second-rate Missouri senator has caused some problems for that. But of course, he's also causing problems with Donald Trump by pointing out that his tariffs are failed, that they are an imposition on us. And someone who did a much better job pointing that out, and a much better senator, someone that Donald Trump might use a worse name for than second rate, was Elizabeth Warren, who ripped into Donald Trump's trade rep, who's a complete idiot, and a takedown that I think perfectly encapsulates the failure of these tariffs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Donald Trump is single-handedly driving this economy off a cliff. With no evidence to back him up, he's claimed emergency authorities to slap new tariffs on nearly every product we import from nearly every country. But Congress has the power to reverse these tariffs, and we should do so immediately. Tariffs can be a tool to help build things in America, but Trump has slapped tariffs on, then off again, with no rhyme or reason. And the uncertainty about the long-term rules makes companies far less likely to invest in manufacturing or jobs here in the United States. If Congress doesn't stand up to Trump, economists predict a recession before the end of the year. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell says we're in a real danger of, quote, both higher unemployment and higher inflation. Translation, Trump's tariffs will push millions of workers out of jobs and push prices up at the same time. So, Ambassador Greer, we've heard a lot of conflicting statements about whether these tariffs are here to stay, how many more rounds of on-off we're going to do. So let me ask the question from a different perspective. Ambassador Greer, we lost 700,000 jobs each month in the last recession. If 700,000 Americans lose their jobs, will the Trump administration suspend these tariffs?
Senator, I think the economists who are making these projections, who often are in favor of fully unfettered free trade, are the same ones who said in the first Trump term that putting tariffs.
Greer, Ambassador Greer, let me just stop you there. I'm not asking about projections. I'm asking if the numbers show that 700,000 people have lost their jobs because of these new tariffs that Trump has slapped on. Will the administration reverse course and lift those tariffs?
Senator, that's not going to happen. We've lost 5 million manufacturing jobs over the years, which is the number I'm most worried about, and we have to get those jobs back.
So I take that as a no. Let me try another one. Moody's says that if the Trump tariffs remain in place, we will definitely plunge into a recession, which will ultimately cost 3.5 million Americans their jobs. So, Ambassador Greer, if Trump's tariffs push 3.5 million people out of work, will the Trump administration reverse course and lift those tariffs?
Senator, the Wall Street analysts are wrong. They never want to have any kind of change to the status quo.
Right or
but that's who you're quoting to me,
Senator.
Senator.
I'm giving you a number. If the number is 3.5 million, if it never comes to pass, you don't have to worry about your answer. But if 3.5 million people lose their jobs because of these tariffs, is the Trump administration prepared to lift them?
Right now, this minute, we're working on negotiations with countries who believe they can achieve reciprocity with us and get their trade deficit down. And that's the emergency we're focused on. There's not going to be a situation where years from now we've lost millions of jobs.
Let me try one more time. If Trump tariffs push workers out of their jobs and raise prices, as Fed Chair Powell has predicted, will you reverse course then?
I think also with respect to Chairman Powell, who I don't know personally, but I know the president makes decisions on trade, and he rarely takes advice from Chairman Powell on this. We found in Trump 1 that you could put tariffs on China and you could make it work and have lower income, lower unemployment, lower inflation, and increase real median household income over time as we reshore. And that's what we have to do, Senator.
What I'm hearing you say is that no one can hear a rhyme or reason to why the tariffs are off again, on again, off again, on again. But what you're telling us is the fact that hundreds of thousands, even millions of people could lose their jobs and that prices could go up will not be a factor for you or for Donald Trump for rolling those tariffs back. Look, if Republicans are serious about protecting American jobs and fighting inflation, then they can join Democrats right now to pass a resolution to fix Trump's reckless tariffs. This economy is teetering on the edge of collapse. We have the power right here in the Senate and over in the House of Representatives to take this authority away from Donald Trump. We can get this voted on. Senator Wyden and I have already are about to introduce the bill to do that. And if Republicans are serious about not playing the red light, green light with tariffs, but instead about protecting our economy, our families, our jobs, and keeping prices low, then Republicans should join us on that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Welch.
Thank you. You know, there's a place for tariffs on China. Targeted tariffs make some sense. What is being rolled out and the way this is being done is so destructive and so reckless and so irresponsible that it's creating nothing but economic chaos.
Donald Trump is orchestrating the most idiotic economic agenda, if you can even call it that, in American history. There's no plan. He's made it very clear he just likes sending the letters. He's a big fan of he just likes the letters. He wants to pretend that he's tough. He never has been. He never will be. And it's why we're going to keep calling him out on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.